One thing that I have learned in getting through my splintering is that it helps to say things out loud. You don't even have to say it to anyone. Is there someone that you pray to?
Have you ever heard of the god Ilmater?
I'm sorry, no.
He's the Faerunian god of suffering, of endurance, and martyrdom.
Well, that makes sense.
I know, I'm right. I'm on theme, aren't I?
Sure. And does he help you?
I thought for years that he wasn't, but well, I guess this was before you joined us. But there was a time when we were walking. This is when Vex was still in that body, or Helgi. Actually, I can't remember.
Do you find it strange that he was named Vex as well?
I did.
Anyway, let's move on.
No, I thought that was interesting. We'll dig into your trauma after mine. We'll do like, what's the thing they do in therapy? Like, I'm holding the talking stone, and then I'm gonna pass it to you.
Go ahead.
I was walking with the group, and well, it's embarrassing to say this, but I don't know. Have you? I suppose not. Have you ever fallen away from your faith or doubted?
Well, I have not had much at all until right before I appeared inside of this body. I did not pray previously, no. And I have actually, in my recollection, I'm not quite sure I've ever really prayed, but, no, go ahead.
Well, that was a big part of my upbringing. See, I was recognized from a very young age as being an Asama, which is usually a sign of some sort of divine appointment or something. So, my parents sent me to be raised in the House of the Broken God, which is a very famous, very large, established monastery dedicated to the Triad gods. I'm not going to tell you about them, but Ilnate is one of them. And is a very large gathering of faith and practice there. And really recognized as some of the best healers in the land. And that's where I grew up. I was studying. It was every morning waking up at 5 a.m. praying first, going to break the fast with the other priests, taking out food and medicines to the nearby communities, studying all sorts of advanced healing techniques and discussing our teachings and preaching to one another in the evening times. It was the most peaceful, beautiful time of my life. And I suppose, being the Asama in the place, everyone sort of treated me like, you know, the precious child in the group. And goodness, I love those times. So my faith was very strong. And, well, it was strong up until a point where I was around 20, I think, at the time. I just started going out with a few of the other priests and my guardian, St. Ivan, who's a paladin, actually, to a neighboring town that had started experiencing the rise of very strange, violent crimes and sicknesses and decay, and even the woods around were dying. And as the most premier healers in the region, they asked us to send aid. So it's one of my first excursions. I went out with my best friend Brenneth and Ivan and a few of the other priests. We didn't really think much of it, you know. Sometimes villages can exaggerate if it's a wave of normal sickness, but it always paid to be cautious. But no amount of caution would have helped us for what happened. We hadn't even reached the town yet, and in the middle of the night, we were just attacked by this monstrous creature. It's horrifying to even think about it. Clearly fiendish of some nature, commanding a whole battalion of forces with it, and they set upon us in the middle of the night, and well, they went through us like a hot knife through butter. And there was nothing I could do. That was the first time I ever manifested, it's called, when Asana channels the divine spirit within them, and they exhibit the characteristics like wings and a halo and a glow, but normally they say that's supposed to strengthen you and your connection with your deity, but the thing that was leading them saw that and just laughed. And in that split second, it shot me down. Cleaved open my entire back with its sword. They said afterwards that I was split down to the bone, from neck to waist. And they said you could see my vertebrae. And all I could do is just lay there bleeding. And it taunted me. Taunted Ilmater, taunted me being a chosen one, taunted my strength. And then it told me it would see me again someday. And it disappeared. My recovery was just brutal. I woke up back at the Abbey. They'd only just managed to stabilize me from dying. 6 of my friends were slaughtered. My friend Brenneth was in a coma. Said I was lucky that I didn't stay in mine. I couldn't walk for months. I had to depend on my dear friends and family for support of every need. I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't feed myself. And I was just in crippling agony. Because this thing cursed me as I lay there dying. Because it wasn't enough just to kill me. It had to do it. It had to hurt me as much as it possibly could. I don't even know, looking back, if it even wanted me to die. I think it wanted me to hang on or be brought back by the barest of slivers so I could experience the gift it had given me, it said. And I had fits after that for years where I was in constant pain and the wound on my back never heals, never closes all the way. Always in agony, the slightest move it sets it off. But there would be times when, randomly, it was like a fist clenching your spine and twisting. And I would start seizing, and I'd just fall to the ground in a fit. I'd hear it. And those moments I'd hear it again, talking, taunting me. All sorts of vile things. You have to understand, Vex, I lived in the most premier healing house in Faerun. And in the beginning, the first few months, I thought, you know, my god is a god of suffering, of martyrdom, and of mercy. Maybe this period is just a test, right? Like, it's just, maybe so I can empathize more fully with people that need healing and are sick like that. But surely after a few months, you know, the priest would find a cure. They'd be able to remove the curse, close the wound, and my life would go back to normal. And that's what everyone told me. They said it would be fine, just hang in there. It's a test, it's a chance for you to prove your dedication. I believed them, and I thought, you know what? If I have that hope, I can do it. If I just have that hope, I can make it through this. And then the months turned into years. I could barely even leave the temple. I could barely even walk upright. And then people started to talk around us. You know, the neighboring community. Maybe she'd done something wrong. Maybe she'd offended her god. Maybe this was some sort of rightly and divine punishment that she deserved. And then they avoided me. People that I had spent years tending to and treating and encouraging. Treated me like I was a plague. And after enough years, I got a little tired of that. And of the pity, I guess, from everyone in the Abbey. That there was nothing that they could do. So, I left. The only home I'd really ever known, I just left. I suppose I understand why your story comes in. Because I thought maybe if I'm just drunk all the time, I won't feel the pain. If I just stay drunk, right? What was yours of choice?
Whatever I found in the alleys.
Yeah, that was me too. We probably passed each other at some point if you ever visited.
I doubt you were in Midgard much.
I don't
Or
know, I was so
Eberron.
drunk all the time, I honestly might have been, who knows. But no way of knowing. And that didn't help. So I started trying to finesse some potions I liked to brew. That was something that we were educated in growing up. And I thought maybe I could just brew some sort of strong pain reliever that might blunt it, the edge a bit. And that took years, but eventually I managed to create a potion recipe that, well, I guess it's the closest I've ever come to mitigating some of the pain. But it's always there still. I feel it now, even. It feels like somebody's just burning my spine. But it's the only thing that even takes even the slightest edge off of it. And the ingredients to make it, they're so costly, they're so rare. They're only really commonly found in the city of Brass. So, that's how I arrived there. I told them, you know what, I'll put up with your disgusting institution of slavery and pit fighting, and I'll endure being treated like a slave, and I'll sit in this little hovel of a clinic, and I'll treat day in and day out all the injured people, fighting for nothing, for no reason whatsoever. If you just give me access to the petals that I need for that recipe. They must have thought that was funny. So that's what I did for years. And I guess it's been a long time, a couple of years, since I heard that thing's voice. I'm shaking right now just talking about it. It's pathetic.
While she's telling the story and looking away from me, I'm gonna cast Sleep and Calm Emotions in consecutive ways to try and just get her to slowly relax and go to sleep.
As your spells are cast, and Celine
I can't say words. In
finishes
response.
her story, she holds up a little bottle, kind of looks at it wistfully, shakes her head, yawns, puts it down, looks at you and kind of nods her head with a note of thanks for listening. And you kind of look at her and nod back as she turns over and lays down and goes to sleep.